Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. Or if this is your first time here, thank you for joining me today. Get on the right slide. Today is our Missing Person Monday video. I have some cold cases, a compilation that I'm going to do today. I've shared most of these in live streams that I've done, but I thought I would put them all together today in a condensed version for our video. So let's get started. First, we have William Boyd Pendergrass. He has been missing since November 3rd, 2020 from Rogers, Arkansas. He was 55 years old at the time he went missing, 5'9" to 5'10", 150 to 170 pounds. He is a Native American male with black hair and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of an eagle on his cheek and a tattoo of the name Ozzy across his knuckles, and he is an enrolled member of the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. He was last seen leaving the Rancho Hotel Motel in Rogers, Arkansas on August 25th, 2020. He has never been seen or heard from again. At the time of his disappearance, he lived in the town of Kansas, Oklahoma. But he frequented Bentonville, Fort Smith, Ozark, Rogers, and Siloam Springs in Arkansas. Fortunately, that's about all the details we have in William's case. If you have any information regarding William or his possible whereabouts, please contact the Rogers Police Department at 579-621-1172. Next, we have Jean McKinney. Jean went missing on April 15th, 1982 from Piercy, Arkansas. She was 55 years old at the time she disappeared, 5'3", 175 pounds. Make this bigger so I can read it. Jean was last seen by her children on April 13th, 1982. She worked part-time at Abilities Unlimited, but she failed to show up for work on that day that she went missing. Her daughter reported her missing. After Jean's disappearance, her Chevrolet Caprice was found at the Little Rock Airport. Detectives do not believe that she flew out of the airport. However, there were no records of her purchasing a ticket, as she was afraid of flying. Investigators believe that Jean's second husband, G.A. McKinney, may have been responsible for her disappearance. Neighbors did see them drive off in G.A.'s truck on the day that Jean disappeared, but he later denied that she had been in his vehicle that day. He also removed a large piece of carpet from the utility room of the home that day. He claimed that the washing machine had leaked on it and ruined it. One witness claimed to have seen G.A. leave home on the morning of April 15th with a barrel in the back of his vehicle and return 30 to 45 minutes later without it. G.A. maintains his innocence of his or her disappearance and has not been charged with any wrongdoing in relation to this. Authorities think that Jean's body is buried somewhere in rural Garland County, Arkansas, but searches of the area have turned up no sign of remains, and her case remains open and unsolved. So if you have any information regarding Jean, her possible whereabouts, if you saw her husband that day, driving around anywhere in the truck, or saw anything suspicious, contact the Garland County Police at 501-622-3690. Oh no. Next, we have Judith Threlkeld. This is a really cold one. She went missing from Silver Creek, New York on March 8th, 1976. She would be 70 years old today if she were still alive. She was 5'11", 130 pounds when she disappeared. She was last seen leaving on foot from a library in Silver Creek, New York. Her brother saw her walking on the road home. He offered her a ride. She declined, saying that she wanted to walk home instead. and she was never seen again, and she has had no contact with her family or friends in 46 years. And I do have an article that I will read to you with some additional information. This article is from March of 2024, and it says, police still looking for leads in 1976 missing persons case. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office continues to search for Judith Threlkeld, who was reported as missing by Silver Creek Police on March 8, 1976. 48 years ago today, Judith Lynn Threlkeld was last seen while walking home in Silver Creek. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office has not given up in its search for her. The Sheriff's Office, through the Unsolved Chautauqua Facebook page, said there is a theory, discussion, and possibility that Judy, who would be 70, is still alive. Threlkeld disappeared in 1976. She reportedly left the Anderson Lee Library in Silver Creek and was last seen walking home on Central Avenue. She was reported missing by Silver Creek Police on March 8, 1976. Police said that she was wearing blue jeans, a khaki shirt, a blue sweater, a navy blue suede coat, and snow boots, and she was also carrying a brown purse. In February of 2023, the Sheriff's Office released a picture of a dump truck similar to the one that was seen on Howard Street in the village of Silver Creek around the time that Threlkeld went missing. They believe the vehicle was operated by a white adult male in his mid-20s with sandy blonde hair and beard. A forensic laboratory work conducted over 18 months has failed to match on Judy to any USA-based unidentified DNA database profile. And Unsolved Chautauqua said Friday on Facebook, investigators followed up numerous leads of reported Judy sightings. As of March 8, 2024, those leads have not generated any results. Unsolved Chautauqua was created by the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Unsolved Cases team to solve missing persons cases as well as other crimes in the county. If you have any information on the vehicle and its driver, the dump truck, you're asked to contact the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office via email at unsolvedchautauqua@sheriff.us or by calling 716-753-4578. Next, we have Joseph Edward Cripps. Joseph has been missing since October 19th, 2016 from Little Rock, Arkansas. His birthday is January 5th, 1965. He was 5'7" to 5'10", 165 to 185 pounds when he disappeared. He was last seen in Little Rock on October 19th, 2016. He had gone to the Whitewater Tavern that day. He was refused service and asked someone to call him a cab. It is unclear whether he took a vehicle home or decided to walk. He lived only a mile away. He had just gotten paid, and he may have been carrying a significant amount of cash. Joseph is a musician, and he was supposed to play a gig on October 21st, but he never showed up, and he has never been heard from again. He left his medication behind at his apartment, as well as his drumsticks and mallets, which he would not have traveled without. His car was in the repair shop when he disappeared between 1993 and 1997. Cripps was the percussionist for Brave Combo, which is a Grammy Award-winning polka band based in Denton, Texas. He still played with the band occasionally. He was well known in the music scene in Arkansas and Texas, and his case remains unsolved. So if you have any information regarding Joseph or his disappearance, his possible whereabouts, please contact the Little Rock Police Department at 501-371-4605. Next, we have Kimberly A. Hendricks. Kimberly went missing on April 8, 1993 from Girton, Arkansas. She was 26 years old when she went missing, 5'6", 125 pounds. She was last seen by a police officer in Girton at around 2:40 a.m. on April 8th, the night that she disappeared, or the early morning when she disappeared. She was in the company of 2 men at the time. She has never been heard from again, and a few details are available in her case. She was last seen wearing a large black pullover shirt, brown stretch pants, and a black cap with Silver Dollar Club written on the front. She was African American female with black hair and brown eyes. So if you have any information on Kimberly's disappearance, please contact the Arkadelphia Police Department at 870-246-4545. Next, we have Daryl Arnez Smith. He has been missing from Dunbar, West Virginia since October 2nd, 2014. He was 46 at the time of his disappearance. He would be 56 now. Brown eyes, shaved head, 210 to 220 pounds, 5'11" to 6'1". He was last seen wearing a Carhartt coat, light blue jeans, and light colored boots. He does have a large multicolored Grim Reaper tattoo on his upper left arm. He was last seen in Dunbar, West Virginia. He had spoken to his employer on the phone that morning. He was told that he didn't have to come into work that day. Cell phone records show that he traveled along Interstate 77 from Dunbar to the area of Eden Fork Road in Charleston. When he disappeared, law enforcement believes Daryl is a victim of homicide, unfortunately. The only information that I could find on him additional was from Web Sleuths, and I'll put a link to it in the description box along with all my other sources that I use. And it just had an excerpt from a newspaper article. And it says, according to deputies with the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, the case of Daryl A. Smith, who was reported missing on October 7th by his family, is now being investigated as a homicide. It does say Corporal Brian Humphrey said Tuesday that numerous search warrants were executed and evidence was collected. As a result, they do have a person of interest in this case. The details surrounding that person of interest are not being released, and at that point, and still today, no arrests have been made, and Daryl has not been found. There is a Facebook group for Daryl. I will also link it in the description box. It hasn't been updated since around 2016, so around 2 years after he disappeared. I looked for any recent news articles to see if there had been any arrests made or anything developed in his case. I could not find anything. So we will hope for the best, and please share this information out everywhere you can. Next, we have Ebony Giddens. I've featured Ebony several times. Ebony was 30 years old, a black female, 4'9", 110 pounds, with brown hair and black eyes. The Columbus Police Department and the family of Ebony Giddens are seeking the public's help for assistance locating Ebony. She was last seen on March 12th, 2018 on Montclair Drive in Columbus, Georgia. At the time Ebony went missing, she was 27 years old. Today, she will be 31. If you have any information concerning Ebony, please contact 911 or the Columbus Police Department Special Victims Unit at 706-653-3449, or Sergeant Zavarink at 706-225-4384. And I also have an article with some additional information on Ebony. This article is from December of 2023. It says, family releases balloons for the birthday of Columbus woman missing since 2018. Family and friends gathered on December 23rd to celebrate the 33rd birthday of a woman who went missing in Columbus over 5 years ago. To date, many questions still remain, but the family is holding on to hope as they celebrate another birthday missed. We feel cheated in a way because she should be here with us, said Giddens' cousin, Shonda Pendleton. Ebony went missing from her home on Montclair Drive on March 12th, 2018. Ebony's cousin described when they first realized that Ebony may be in trouble. She said Ebony's brother went to go pick up the kids to take them to school. And when he got there, he couldn't get an answer at the door. He went in when his nephew was able to get to the door. The brother was able to get into the house. And upon getting in there, they realized that Ebony was not there. According to Pendleton, since 2022, there have been 2 new detectives assigned to the case, but still no updates or contact from Ebony. She leaves behind her 3 young sons and a family without closure. Investigators are trying to determine what happened, but her family has their own theory. They say, we believe a young man went into her home that night and took her by force. He either harmed her there or took her by force somewhere else. They said because she would never have left her kids alone. Her former boyfriend, Malcolm, was sentenced to 35 years for assault, possession of a firearm, and stalking against Tiffany 1 year after she went missing, but he is not facing charges for Ebony's disappearance. Ebony's aunt says, I have my days where I just sit and think, wonder where you could be, what are you doing? And I just say, Lord, protect her, said Patricia Giddens, who is Ebony's aunt. It's been a lot. It's been a toll mentally. It takes me over. I try to find ways of where you may be, said another cousin, Ashley Jones. Although the family is trying to embrace happier times, they still have a message for Ebony just in case she is still out there. Happy birthday to her today. We're praying for you. We're praying, please come home. Please be safe. And we're going to look for you, and we're always going to look for you. The family described Ebony as the life of the party, an excellent mother, funny, and one who loved her family. They are strongly encouraging anyone who knows something to speak up so they can find closure. If you have any information about Ebony's whereabouts, you can call 911 or reach out to the Columbus Police Department. Next, we have Phyllis Brewer. Phyllis has been missing since June 13th, 1981 from Lowellville, Ohio. She was 59 years old when she went missing. She is a white female, red hair, unknown eye color. At the time she went missing, she was 5'7", 135 pounds. The picture on the right you see on the slide is an age progression to 55 years old. So if you have any information regarding Phyllis, her possible whereabouts, what may have happened to her, they say call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can also call Mahoning County Sheriff's Office at 1-330-480-5000. And I do have a video to show to you. It's about a 3-minute video.
First, this, a teenager missing for more than 40 years, vanishing while she was out on a walk. But what if that's not what happened at all? Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Dunn.
And I'm Tiffany Tucker. Investigator Sarah Goldenberg uncovers new leads in this case that have detectives focused on finding answers in Ashtabula County.
She was known as Sparky. At 19 years old, Phyllis Brewer disappeared in the summer of 1981 from a suburb of Youngstown. At least that's the information detectives had when they reopened her missing persons case 10 years ago after her sister died.
She was the daughter that passed that started the investigation.
They went to notify Phyllis but couldn't find her.
Found out she'd been reported missing but never entered into leads or NCIC as a missing persons.
Phyllis went missing from an area with no law enforcement at the time. So Detective Patrick Mondura with the Mahoning County Sheriff's Office started from square one, looking for immediate family members to talk to, but they had all passed away, and he couldn't find anyone who knew Phyllis well.
Everything's gone. Archives, we found a couple pictures of her, and that's it. That's all we have.
Detective Mondora worked with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to come up with these age progressions. Over time, about 100 people reached out from across the country saying they'd spotted her, but none of those leads panned out.
Our investigation all centered around this area because the story was she left her home and never came home.
But recently, a distant relative brought him information that would point them in a new direction.
Family at that time believed that the father may have killed her up in Conneaut. We've checked with the medical examiners up there, all law enforcement up there, see if they have any cold cases with a Jane Doe. Nothing.
That theory hasn't been proven, but Detective Mondora also found out Phyllis had actually been going to Conneaut High School in Ashtabula County when she went missing, about an hour north of where they thought she vanished from in Mahoning County. And she lived here with her father, Robert Brewer, off a dirt road not far from I-90. He passed away years ago.
Do you hope this new lead involving Conneaut could help you solve the case?
So it would be nice to close this because it sits on my desk. Like I said, we've been working on it since 2014.
19 Investigates checked yearbooks at the Conneaut Library to see what we could find on Phyllis Brewer, spotting her name only once in the 1979 yearbook, missing a photo. But then a look at court records revealed something puzzling, showing Phyllis had at least 2 run-ins with Conneaut police in 1982. You may remember she's listed as disappearing in 1981. We just got back records showing Phyllis served 10 days in jail, and they let her out in May of '82. Could Phyllis have gone missing later than they thought, or could someone else have been using her ID? Detective Mondora is looking into it and trying to learn more about Phyllis and her father.
If they have anything, please give us a call.
Phyllis Brewer would be 62 years old if she's still alive today. If you knew Phyllis or remember anything about her and her family, it could help. You can call the Mahoning County Sheriff's Office with any information. Sarah Goldenberg, 19 News.
So that video had some very interesting information in it. As you heard, they said that she'd originally been listed as going missing in 1981, but yet in 1982, they had an arrest. She was arrested, or either she or somebody possibly using her identity. So that's very concerning. But once again, if you have any information regarding Phyllis, her disappearance, possibly what happened to her, they also mentioned they thought it was possible that the father may have had something to do with her disappearance. But if you know anything, once again, call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or the Mahoning County Sheriff's Office at 1-330-480-5000. Next, we have little Jason Keith Cannon. He was just 2 years old when he went missing. He was last seen on the front porch of his home in Boise, Idaho around 2 p.m. on March 16th, 1983. His mother went outside for a few minutes when she returned, or went inside for a few minutes when he returned. Jason was gone. An extensive search of the area turned up no sign of him. He is believed to have been abducted by a non-family member. So that is very concerning. He does have a scar above his right eye. He had 2 moles on his neck and possibly more on his back. And he had blonde hair and brown eyes. So if you have any information about Jason, his possible whereabouts, his disappearance, because I do have an article that I'm going to read to you that think he possibly maybe could still be alive and not know, who he was, if this was a stranger abduction. But if you have any information, you should call the Boise Police Department at 208-377-6790. And I also have an article with some additional information on Jason. This article is from April 5th of 2024. It says, "We don't give up. Could Boise toddler who went missing in 1983 still be alive?" On March 16th, 1983, 2-year-old Jason Keith Cannon went missing from his home in Boise's North End. Boise police are now asking for the public's assistance in hopes of solving the 41-year-old cold case. Wearing blue overalls and a yellow and blue shirt, Jason was last seen around 2 p.m. on the front porch of his apartment complex at 939 North 32nd Street, according to previous Idaho Statesman's reporting. His mother had gone inside to get his jacket, but when she returned back outside, he was gone. Police, neighbors, and volunteers did an extensive search of the surrounding neighborhood in the weeks that followed, including including combing a small canal called Sand Creek that ran behind the apartment complex, as well as portions of the Boise River. But Jason was never found. Boise police last year solved the cold case of 65-year-old Joyce Casper using a new technique that involves genealogy. Detectives were able to compare DNA found at the crime scene with what was available on popular ancestry websites and build a family tree, according to previous Statesman reporting. Boise Police Department's Violent Crime Unit Detective Paul Jagosh, who was assigned to look into Jason's case again in 2020, told the Idaho Statesman he plans to use the same investigative techniques in Jason's case. Jagosh said he's tracked down and re-interviewed several people from 1983, including Jason's parents, who now live out of the state. Police are working with Jason's parents to submit their DNA samples to GEDmatch, which houses DNA samples from several genealogy sites like Ancestry, 23andMe, as long as somebody opts in to have their DNA tested. We're going to investigate everything at the Boise Police Department. We don't give up on these cases, Jagosh said. And that is a picture of Detective Jagosh. When Jason initially went missing, authorities thought that he may have fallen into the canal near his home. A toy bucket identified by 2 of Jason's friends as belonging to Jason was found west of Stilson Road near the Boise River, which was about a third of a mile away from his home. A police spokesman at the search site told the Statesman in 1983. But Detective Jagosh said other factors, like the fact that Jason was afraid of water, that his older brother was headed home from school. Apparently, he waited out on the front porch steps every day for his brother to come home from school. His mother had brownies in the oven, made him skeptical that Jason just wandered off. Jagosh said Jason may still be alive, and police are currently investigating the case as an abduction. They said, we're trying to keep it alive, keep it in people's minds, Jagosh said, adding they've analyzed most of their leads, but any new details can help. It's very true. You guys who watched me for any length of time know that I always say, especially in these cold cases, no matter how insignificant or small you think something is, it could be the key to solving the disappearance. Detective Jagosh said if you lived in that immediate area and remember the case, reach out if you have any information at all, because even just the slightest lead could be a breakthrough. And anyone with information about the case can contact dispatch at 208-377-6790 or 208-343-2677. All right, guys, that is our Missing Person Monday episode for this week. Please, if you will, before you leave, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. Please share it anywhere and everywhere you can to help get this information out to as many people as possible. These cold cases really need to be solved, and as we saw in a lot of these cases, they are using genetic genealogy, DNA, to try to solve some of these cases. So that makes it even more important to get this information out there, to keep these missing names and faces out there so that they are never forgotten. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I share missing persons, cold cases, some current true crime in the news, and things of that nature. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take care of your fellow human beings. That is the most important thing we can do. And I will see you next time. Thanks, guys.